What up? I'm back!
Hi, I'm Shanice.
Hi, I'm John.
Hi, I'm Nick.
Hi, I'm Leah, and this is
ZULA ChickChats!
So today we're gonna be talking about whether guys like wild or nice girls.
Oh.
So for you guys, what would you define as typically wild or typically nice?
People always assume that not wild is like quite guai, maybe a bit more mellow. Versus like the wild kind, right? Is I just discovered the clubs, I'ma go club every day.
The nice girl would be like, girl next door, she does sports, like she eats dinner with family and everything. Wild girl will be like, if you need guest list, then this is a stereotype. That is not our personal belief.
I feel that the definition of a wild girl also, right? Don't really know what she wants, what kind of partner she's looking for.
There are a lot of people like that.
You be wild, stay wild.
Oh my god.
Okay, to me, I think it would just be like sleep around, go club every day, get drunk every day.
Wild guys, wild girls are the same kind of thing.
Okay, then I'm gonna ask you, classify me and Shanice into one category.
Shanice is nice, you are wild.
Okay, based off what?
Based off our understanding. So when Leah laughs, she's like, Shanice laughs, right?
Shanice look like she'll go for brunch, then you look like you'll just go for supper. Like eggs Benedict and prata, 1 egg, 1 plate.
I think it's just society's very stereotypical standards. A wild girl, clubs, drinks, then girl next door, prim and proper. The wild girl is probably someone who completely let go. She has no fear, which means consequences don't matter to her. She just does what she wants. Or maybe like the nice girl is a bit more like conservative.
Like followed by like
People,
rules
yeah.
kind of thing.
No right and wrong.
Anyway, the next question is any past relationship examples of wild versus nice? Okay, tell me about your relationship now.
Nice, huh?
These chick chats, not one word answer.
Can cook good.
Can cook good.
Responsible. Dinner with the family will remind me to have dinner with my family.
We all just like help.
Committed, stable, and reliable.
See, all these things are regardless of whether wild or nice. Take that, society.
I think most people like have both sides to them, right?
Okay, I had dealings with
Dealings. No one is this.
I'm just gonna leave it as I had dealings, okay? I had dealings with like a really wild girl.
Okay, you put a spectrum of like
almost
me,
check all the
Shanice, and
stereotype
her.
boxes.
Oh really? Yeah.
Like she bring around the drip machine, then inside is like alcohol.
Something like that. Almost check all the stereotypical nice girls boxes also.
Wow, so experienced. Tell us all.
Based on these two experiences, right, I understand where people are coming from when they encounter people who fit the stereotypes like that. At the same time, right, I'm grateful for it. Extreme end of each, right, sometimes very detrimental when it comes to relationships. Because if let's say a person is super nice, sometimes there are things that I find unrelatable. Our lifestyle may be different. Then you will feel guilty sometimes, right, when you're not able to participate in certain things with your partner. And then the other end of the spectrum, you sometimes feel very miserable because you don't understand whether this person is even your partner. You don't understand what this person is up to. So finding that middle ground is the best.
Then Shanice, right, has anybody like found it a problem you're like too much of a nice girl?
No leh. Even if so, they probably wouldn't say it to my face.
That's true. They
That's
probably
true.
wouldn't have said it
Yeah.
to her at all.
So like Leah said, she's a bit more associated with the wilder side of the spectrum. I have a friend who is the opposite end
Like,
of the
So far, we
cold
can't even
girl.
see her anymore.
Like really, she's a lovely, sweet girl. Like no sex before marriage, no drinking.
Wow, like the chastity
Yeah,
belt
like
that type of
Oh.
check all the boxes
Wow.
kind.
Then you think like this kind of girl, would that be an issue?
I won't impress my lifestyle or my values onto her, but all I need is her to be involved in my life. It only becomes an issue if we are dating and then you refuse to be a part of what I want to do.
I think you have to
Wow.
respect the other person. Just make sure you don't make the other person feel bad or like,
Yeah.
like
Oh
look
my
down
God.
on, hey, why are you not like that too? You know?
Exactly. So it's always only fair if you all respect each other.
The hypocritical part comes in when the guy is a certain way, right? Like party, drink very often, but he wants the girl to be like another way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, then that's the only point where I feel it's very rubs.
Yeah, comes back to this point. You want people, you want you, man.
Okay, then for you guys, right? What type of girls do you like? Like your ideal type?
Wow. I would say that like I would prefer someone who is a bit more girl next door. Nice lah. But at the same time must have potential to have fun.
That's what all guys want.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
this is what all
I
guys
think there
want.
needs to be a balance.
Angel on the streets, something in the sheet. I don't know that's a phrase.
Yeah.
Okay.
as in,
You go Google that.
like, if I want to like go and eat brunch, then can go and eat brunch. But at the same time, I'm like, hey, you wanna go for drinks?
The ideal girl for me, right, has to be a good mix of both lah. Knows how to carry herself in the right setting. So like if let's say we were like, hey, let's try this atas place, you know, like fine dining or whatever. And then after that we go for some trashy bar, to
Yeah.
drink some beers. Things like that would be fun lah. Any kind of partner that you look for, so you want the right mix, right?
Yeah, I
When you,
agree.
when you want to let loose, you can let loose with them. When you want to atasify with them, you also can atasify with them.
I think the most important thing is need to be able to provide some stability, but at the same
Yes.
time need to have that spontaneity.
Yeah.
I have this theory, right, that my friends say they will want to date wild girls, but they only want to marry nice girls.
Okay.
Yeah, so how true is this?
Okay, I think this is something that everybody says. They'll be like, oh, I want to have fun. And then after that, like, the girl that I bring home has to be the one that is you know, the brunch kind. I agree to a certain extent, but right, who's to say this is not the same?
Personally, I disagree with that statement. Like, you want to date someone well, but then you want to marry someone nice. Because for me, it's more of like a prospective partner that I would consider dating, right? Should be someone that I can see like eventually long term I will want to marry. And
So like you want to marry both her good side and her wild side.
yeah, as in I wouldn't be like, oh, I want to have fun with this kind of girl and then I want to be in a relationship with this kind of girl. One package.
What a nice guy. Hashtag nice guy Nick.
Like my friends say this to me and they don't mean it 100%, right? They really automatically classify girls into certain categories, right? So they won't even give the person a chance. Why they don't want to have these wild girls as their partner is because they want the girl to bring out the good in them. She must be good so that they can be good. But in my mind, it's like, why can't you just be good in the first place?
Yeah,
Like, why you need the girl, right?
Yeah, I think this is wrong to like classify someone as like undateable because of an impression like this, right? Who made you the high authority on how people should behave? Saying someone is not at this point of time, I won't date you because you're too wild or you're too good, it's a turn off.
Yeah, I think it's very important that you also know what you want out of yourself
Yeah.
before you want this,
Yeah,
this person.
I think like you want people to want you.
Obviously, the guy has to put in effort and the
Yeah.
girl has to put in effort for
Exactly.
the relationship, right?
But I wonder, do you all subconsciously do that? Like when you meet a girl for the first time, right away you categorize her as either
I subconsciously do it. Even though I do it right, it does not affect my decision on whether I want to get to know her or not. Maybe I could steer our topics towards something that's a bit more relatable. So if let's say I meet a girl who's a little bit more wild, right, maybe we can talk more about like music festivals. But if you meet someone who is not so wild, right, you don't want to open with like, when was the last time you got pissed drunk? You know, because the girl will be like, maybe I don't want to talk to you anymore. You know, stuff like that.
I think because, right, the basis of this whole judgment of wild and nice, right, it's not based on values.
Yeah.
Which is something that is very important when it comes to like dating someone or being in a
Right,
relationship
yeah.
with someone. For me, right, if people will just say, you very rabak one, but this person doesn't even know me. They just met me for 1 minute and then they just judge it based on how I look and dress, I guess.
This is what jumps out at people. That's why it's a stereotype. After you get to know the person, for example, Leia, right, it is just the way she carries herself and it's a vibe.
Like she got like wild girl vibe, but actually all she does is just like stay at home and watch K-pop music.
I feel like I have to work for it. And prove that my values are of a certain way rather than you just judge me based on my looks, but that's
Yeah.
how the world works.
At maximum, it should end like whether I swipe left or right because my current preference.
Yeah, but then
it shouldn't be a, oh, I want to date this girl, or I don't want to date this girl.
It
It's
shouldn't
like,
be a deal breaker.
correct, you don't even know the person, you know.
alright, how do you know the person is not being fake nice? Like,
Okay, that's the
first
thing. That's why I say
impression.
like you need to spend a bit more time to really fully get to know
Correct.
someone. Because if they are faking it right, after an extended period of time, you will be able to
Yeah,
suss
you're
out.
unable to fake it forever.
Yeah.
I also think that people assume that girls who are maybe a bit more wild are like bro zone. I feel that I'm very like similar to a guy in terms of how I act.
People always have this impression that wild girls are not ready to like settle down with one partner.
okay.
And that's why like people always feel either the wild girl is very difficult to date to the point whereby if your self-esteem not super high, you'll be stuff like, oh, she's so out of my league because the way she behaves, I cannot keep up.
Or is it because they're intimidated by them?
They are.
Maybe, yeah.
Unfortunately, even though they say like, oh, she's undateable, actually she's clumsy.
What the heck?
Man up, man up, man up.
So for you guys, right, has your type changed throughout your years of dating?
Yeah, I would think so. Like I said, the more you understand yourself, your type will change. But I don't think that there will ever be like a fixed type. Because I don't really believe in a specific type lah. It's just someone that need to have chemistry with. I think that's the most important thing.
So there was this period, right, where I was like super into the wild girls because I feel that like they can keep up with the nonsense that I'm up to. And then after that, there was this phase where I went for the really, really, really like nicer girls. There is a change, having grown from this experience. I feel that the question people should ask when they want to date a girl, right, it's not whether they are too wild for me or whether they are too good for me. It should be like getting to know the person first.
The personality counts.
I think also I brought this up because it's kind of a stereotype that like when you're younger you will date more wild and then when you're older you're like, okay, I need to settle down, so let me find like, some nice girl that I can settle down with.
This is still very prevalent in Singapore. I'll give you an example. A good age range will be from before NS to before you graduate from uni.
Yes.
That
It's
kind
like you
of
go
age,
siao one.
correct. So all the uni kids together, vibing together, right? Then that's the vibe that usually the people try to date within. But after you grow up, right, and then you mature a little bit more, right, then you start to look towards the other direction. And then be like, oh, I need to find a nice girl. And kind of settle down. So it's true lah. But people shouldn't put people in the little boxes. They should get to know each other first.
What you do as a person also changes over time, right? So I think that also plays a part lah. Any advice on finding the right person to date?
Get to know that person well first. Rather than just like, oh, nice, I want. Or like, wow, I don't want. But basically like what John said, if you're on Tinder or like any dating app, right, the nice or wild thing is just for you to like,
That's why, right, lor.
Too many options.
yeah.
Personally, I feel that advice advice, right, I think people should focus on the most important thing, and that is being a good person yourself. Dating is a two-way street, especially when you're like trying to find a long-term partner lah. You want other people, doesn't mean people want you. Focusing on whether the girl is too nice or whether the girl is too wild for my current stage of life, it's a very selfish thing to do, and it's a very unnecessary impression judgment forming thing lah. So focus on being a good guy / girl yourself. You all will find each other.
Focus on your own values, and at the same time, if the habits are the things that make you go into one category or another, right?
Yeah.
As long as you're accepting of each other's habits, and maybe like you can tone down on some to accommodate each other, then I think it's completely fine.
Yeah. Exactly.
I think it's just more like both of you got to complement each other. There should be a balance in everything. If both of you enjoy clubbing, then it works. If both of you enjoy just being at home and then watching Netflix,
And chill.
Stop,
that's
John!
for you.
So today we talked about nice girls and wild girls and what they're like, and I think the summary is
Yeah, if you want to date someone doesn't mean they want to date you, right? So be a good person,
Yeah,
and then
just-
good people will find you.
do you.
Do you? So if you guys have any stories to share, feel free to leave in the comments and also let us know what else to talk about next time.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Bye.